But before we even talk about that, again, here are today's matches for day number one here in the grand finals. We start off with Rondo, and then we go through three Erangel matches, and then finally we have the two last matches in Miramar. But again, big shout out as well to those who did try to qualify, but unfortunately they did not. Again, to Khmer or K1J, to SB Divicious, to Arteus Esports, and also to Atlas Misfits. Unfortunately, they weren't able to qualify, but hopefully they can in the next tournaments to come.
Yep, I mean, overall, all these tournament swirlings have always seen victors as well as those who may not have succeeded. But overall, it's been an incredible ride for those that may have been able to make it into the top 16. And it's still going to be a lot of hard work for the rest of the field to also look for another qualification in the upcoming season. It's going to be a long off season, so there's plenty of time to prep. Meanwhile, for those who are vying for a spot in the PMGC, their journey starts here, and we shall see as we kickstart in Rondo in a moment. We got about 5 minutes before we hit right in.
Yeah, we got a lot of minutes to wait on for the first match. Again, let's talk about Rondo here now, Contra. Remember when we had the Rondo Cup where Yangon Galacticos actually got the championship? So if we get the chance to make a prediction, I would go for Yangon Galacticos to win in match number one.
Well, that's a really bold call, but I'm really liking, your perspective as well. I mean, overall, they've been that really steady team to be able to really pull up some of all these huge farming numbers. Rondo allows them to do just that. So they could basically opt to go picking off teams in the early span of the match and go for that recall tower to keep the ball rolling. So I'm hoping that we will see some challenges. I mean, overall, Burmese goals are looking sharp as ever to be really keeping up to the pace, as these two teams are the ones showing us that they are currently starting off with very similar head start points. So I definitely want to see who will be the one to be able to take it all the way home.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Myanmar teams, there's also another team who's very good in Rondo, Contra. This is Nexus Vanguard, is what I'm talking about. Nexus Vanguard, they did only manage to get a few of those head start points. If you talk about Nexus Vanguard, they get like only 10 points. But in Rondo, they actually played well during the league stage. So if you're going to talk about who might win in Rondo, another team is going to be coming from Myanmar, which is, again, Nexus Vanguard. But again, we cannot get only the Myanmar teams to win in Rondo. Again, there's a lot of threat also for those other countries, kind of like for Cambodia. We also do have still Austria Esports, who is still a team that, a team to beat here in PMCL.
True enough, and we're going to be diving into our game shortly, so we'll be waiting for the match to start, so don't go anywhere. We'll just hit right in once the timer's up.
Let the battles begin as we now fly in to the first match here in the grand finals of the PUBG Mobile Challengers League fall of 2025. Here in Rondo, we might see two flight paths, but let's see if we're gonna see that two flight paths. There you go. It's gonna be a cross section from Rinjiang up to until to Kunsia, and then the other one coming from Kunsia right down below of Tu Ling. So again, these are some of the features available here in Rondo. It's kind of like, changing the meta here also in PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, overall, it's been wonderful to actually see teams actually get adjusted, and with certain trajectories disallowing them into getting into a certain corner of the map, this kind of creates ample space for these teams to really play from the edges. And we often see a lot of all these teams do so for them to try to hunt out all these early pickoffs, and they can always look for those recall points, as you can see on those green dots on that minimap. And I think the ones very likely to really get in the mixture in the early span round might just actually be IQ versus GOA, who's around that Rinjiang Hongshan section.
Oh, and actually, two teams going at it together here, which is Infamous Saviera and Yangon Galacticos, the defending champs of PMCL. One is actually far away at a recall tower. So this means that, whenever something fails right at Danqing for YG, someone will go for that revive or recall right away. But again, hot drop session early in this matchup here. Lion already got his S12K. But for now, it's all about, looting the early loots. Ooh, but on the kill feed, though, there's someone who got dropped that's coming from Hybrid X R8 Esports. That's Capo, who got the first blood now is Jappy.
Yeah, very smooth sailing so far, but Infamous Area tries to hold down the line. Murnat already striking very close to the distance as he tries to make a swerve for it. Murnat catches him on the dot. My. So far, looking very solid and clean from the rest of the YG boys as they look to close in. Master Ichi now pushing through. Well, actually, that's Master Smile. Kind of mistaken it for a little bit. I mean, overall, they've been playing together back in the days of Genesis Esports, while Say Cloud will also bring out the UMP to play, pinning them down, and only one member is left. And Say he's got to find a little bit of wiggle room, but he's running out of that area. And now, Infamous Saviera, they should still have that two member to work things out for them to go in for the recall.
Oh yeah, definitely. The other one actually landed on a recall tower, so more than likely, it's gonna be Claude who will be the ones to go for the recall, the IGL of Infamous Saviera. They will definitely use up that second life, so for now they will have to play it safe. For the meantime, Master Ichi, the one you called out earlier on, got eliminated early and also unknown. And this is Guardians of Angels going up against Burmese Skulls, but on a replay, that is where you saw that first blood from Jappy of KHI Esports. But then again, the battle continues here for GOA and Burmese Skulls. Kille Jr. gets another one for the gang, and now they will be able to secure their location. And for Burmese Skulls, they will have to go for the recall.
Yeah, I think overall it is a decent start for YG. Not so much for the side of Burmese Skulls though, but they can absolutely afford to go in trading, and they can basically repeat it, rinse it one more time. But the problem about going for those recall is that once you hop off the pressure, you don't have those weaponries again. You have to restart with looting up whatever necessary. And GGZ now going on a push while Master D2K! Oh, phenomenal finish on the shots, but it's going to be traded right back as MM have been able to arrive to the scene. Not too shabby after all. I mean, at GGZ, they could always look for another tower nearby to bring them back to life. Amin's guarding this portion of the tower though, so Claire, he's got to clear up some space before considering bringing a couple of players back later on.
And on the kill feed again, ooh, it's got to be Migs now, able to drop Ryujin with that headshot. M249 action early on in this matchup. And for Min of Hybrid X R8 Esports, he would have to be very quiet now because, if I'm not mistaken, they're left with only two. So Min is actually waiting for that recall tower just right in front of him, but Claire is actually gatekeeping him from using that recall. So for now, KHI got this big city for now, and they will just have to, clear the area in order for them to make sure that there's no one else available here for Hybrid XRA.
Yeah, it's a little tough for the moment. KHI locking onto the area, ensuring that they won't be able to leave. Meanwhile, Hyra is going to bring a couple of players back. Range finding a little bit of a catch, though, as we're seeing action all around the board as another one replaces us in the form of NX for the moment. GG is in an uncomfortable spot. They really have to get to the recall point, but it really feels like it's a little tough to do. Once again, inside Muhopan, KHI is locking out this member of Hyra. Perhaps there's going to be a little bit of a backup arriving to the scene, but for the moment, I don't really see more of these members of Hyra being around the area.
I think there's still available, like one available member who's actually going for a call. There we go. And Devon will be able to eliminate them right away with the drive-by. Not so sure on my side, though. Cons, it actually lagged on my end.
Yeah, it got stuck for a moment. Devon, somehow, he's still trying to pull up some stops, but he's running straight to the hands of Hash. I believe this is the end for GG in this very first round, but it's just going to be 3 points acquired. Not too shabby of a start for the side of GG, as they had that 7 points of a head start, so that will add 10 to the tally for the moment. Meanwhile, we saw the member of Hyra, Amin, being stranded inside the city for the longest of time, and there's no backup arriving since they have been dealing with those other players over onto the other corner. So KHI will give chase, and that chase won't last for long.
Yeah, that will be it for Min. So this means that you will be able to get a recall, more than likely. But they lose already one member, so for Hyra, they will just be left with 3 players for now. But for the meantime, Max Trezzy, all up against 2 players of YG. Nade coming from Mernat. Then again, he actually dodged that. Ooh, Romeo is actually on a flank there, but they actually got spotted by you of Team Max, so he goes down. And YG looks like they're in trouble here in the early stages of Rondo.
Yeah, it seems like the flanker got outflanked instead. Look at that wide spread coming in from the side of Team Max. I think they are wonderfully controlling the entire sector of the area. Meanwhile, we're also looking at an ambush being set by the side of WIOF, hoping to flush out the rest of the other players out of MG. But it doesn't seem like they will be able to find that catch up against the members of MSI. So they will be able to at least walk away with another point being stashed up. So just trying to squeeze those bullets out of the chamber. Yolos won't be able to find it, though. Back towards the side of YG versus Team Max. Mernat now dealing with it all alone as he spots one over on the course of the window, but the nades are now being primed right in. Itrox now on the push. With a little bit of backing coming from you, he's been able to really dodge that efficiently. Meanwhile, more pressure from the outskirts. He needs to stay indoors.
And while this is happening, battle continues. DOS able to drop Lion on the kill feed right on the lower right-hand side, but that nade dropped Mernat. Oh, but then here comes the bullets from the other players from Nexus Vanguard, a third party coming in. Now Say Cloud will have to rescue Mernat. Looks like they're gonna both go for the rescue, but here comes the other half of Team Max. Trezzy and Kornai is on the back line now, setting up the smokes. Now throwing up some nades as well. Explosions happening, but then there's going to be numbers advantage here for Team Max as they push in. Eliminate Say Cloud and Mernat. For YG, though, looks like they're still left alive here with 2 players still remaining, and they will go for the recall.
Yeah, and they were just waiting by the recall tower all along. Master Smile has been able to bring them back to life. Meanwhile, Clay Jitter, not so fortunate as he gets caught out by Demios hiding inside the shack. But here comes the arrival of the rest of Joey. This is the beauty of playing in Rondo. You just get action nonstop in the early game. And we're absolutely in for it. CTS holding down the line, just hugging by the broken walls. Ella looking for an alternative, but he just looked the other way around, allowing Demios to go in for the punishment. And Cool is going to be able to support fire from the long range. Ooh, here goes the nades, as that will connect. Now ultimately down to Napikel right in the forefront. And I believe that final member of GOA has got no business being here, so he's going to be looking for a different tower altogether.
Wow, that was a beautiful there by WOM with that S12K through the windows of that Pico bus. So for now, for CTS, they survive. And for now, for GOA, Rex, I believe so, will maybe try to find a recall tower. Maybe we'll try to dive in the blue zone in order for them to, try to survive all the way through stage number through onwards. But for now, winning a future, minus now goes for the spray. And winning future, these are one of the rookie teams here on PMCL Contra, and they're kind of like Team Hyra, another rookie team from the Philippines, and they do play well, and then sometimes they don't play well, so they have to be consistent in order for them to be at least in that contention for that #1 spot.
I mean, it's a lot of learning curve for them to handle throughout the span of one season. But take a look at this. I mean, for them to make it to the finals, they've definitely done a lot of things right in order to get here throughout the span of 2 weeks, where some did not really find that level of success. I mean, this being their rookie season, I would say they've been able to really show up. But, of course, they need this to be the proving grounds. Any team, even at the bottom rung of the ladder right now to secure the chicken dinner, will see them have a very strong fighting chance. Meanwhile, Zone's going to be closing into the central area of Yulin, and hence why we're looking at all these teams battling for this space up towards the hillside. But the thing about this hill is that if you don't have a glider, you can only climb up with a buggy, but it will definitely take a while. I've seen certain teams going with a sort of truck to also climb up, but it is definitely not the easiest of tasks. Meanwhile, the rest of IQ pushing right through, and that eliminates 2 members out of CTS in the blink of an eye. Beautifully executed, as IQ now adds 2 more points to the tally. It really felt like everybody got involved in the action except for one team so far. IMXV, they haven't got all those points yet, and also same goes to Aja Esports.
Oh yeah, and for now, winning a future at Yulin, looks like they're trying to get closer to that recall tower. And now for Minus, he will have to defend against 4 players of Team Max. So this is kind of hard for Minus to battle against. And there's also like a possible third party from Team Hyra, which is Min, who's just hiding in one of these houses in Yulin. This is actually a really interesting circle, Contra, because there's actually a recall tower right within the middle of this circle. So it's either you use the recall tower inside the circle, or you just go inside the blue zone and deal with the damage per second of that blue. So a very interesting circle so far.
Yeah, I really do love the circumstances that these teams are being put under. I mean, as much as there's a recall tower, you'll expect all these teams to be eyeing out that corner of the tower all the time. So it isn't exactly all too safe for them to really get those kind of recalls in the midst of all these potential skirmish, as we're looking at a lot of back and forth coming from WIOF as well as NX. Won't be able to actually find too much to get done. I mean, so long as you're within those walls, you're gonna be a-okay. So WIOF, they will just hold firm towards this location. Not so fortunate for Demios. He's looking for the turret, but it is Yapikel that secures it. But somehow he got denied by the blue zone as well. So that definitely is a lot of pressure for those who are on the outskirts. So Goa gotta go in for some quick pickups.
Looks like they're looking for the last guy of CTS, but Demios already. Ooh, look at this! Winning a future now crashes in. Superboy goes down. And here comes YOLOs and Minus going in for the kill. Damage has been dealt already with that frag grenade, but Joji will try to survive, but then it's just way too much of that winning of future as they eliminate Nexus Vanguard.
Yeah, such a decisive push coming from WIOF. The moment that we saw those 2 members were planted inside of the city, they were actually plotting all along to call in for that backup. Meanwhile, CTS, they brought their members back alive, and now they are able to just zone out those members of GOA. And Clay Jr. has got no reprieve, no members to salvage this situation. While CTS, they're still on the outskirts, though, so this is still unclear for them to actually bypass. Though the zone is actually not too far away, they just have to really reach out for it. One member of Goa on the outskirts, Clay Jr., eventually will be bleeding out, but CTS, they're looking for the push.
Yeah, they're looking for the push and probably a revenge because if you remember, CTS got wiped out earlier on by GOA. And oh, look at that spray from Nye Pacquiao. GS9. But eventually, still for CTS, they did manage to get 6 eliminations here in the first match of Rondo. For YG, though, looks like Smile will go for that recovery. And again, Team Max is coming in. Trezzy now circles around with that Coup RP. But then he will try to go back to his teammates. Not much of any information that he got from there.
Yeah, I think that he definitely understands that it is a little too hard to be executing all alone. Speaking of execution, though, GOA needs a clean one. The rest of IQ now sweeping right across the corner. And speaking of clean, got Pacquiao again. Oh, my word. Somehow, he still has to draw an exchange, but not for too long. IQ have been able to zone them out completely. And all that's left to do for the rest of IQ is to journey their way into the center of the zone. They got a lot of space in order to do so, while TQ has got Bunny getting a little bit of a catch. And GGZ, however, on the outskirts, cover being called from the side of KHI for them to play over on the open terrains, and they're doing it so efficiently.
Yeah, it looks like they're much more efficient compared to last week, where they really had struggled in Rondo. And it's all because they always go for the hot drop together with NGGZ. But now here comes NGGZ with that bomb onto Migs, and Migs goes down. And he's actually all alone at that location. They cannot really go for the help out.
Yeah, it's a little sparse for the rest of KHI to really draw into close. Meanwhile, more bodies hit the floor as we have Liliaka being caught in the mix in between. Astra Esports on the top side of the hill and TTQ have been spraying upon that smoke for a long time. So BG is now left with only one member, and it seems like the top teams are showing some struggle in the early span of this match here in Rondo. Whereas over on the midfield, you look at CTS, that's like 6 points, despite them bowing out early.
And for NGGZ, they now close into Blanks. Blanks will unfortunately not get a rescue here from his teammates, as they're actually all stuck right at the edge of the blue zone right now. Claire's, I think he's down as well. And it's only up to Jappy, who is all alone for KHI. And look at that, Jarrell already confirmed Claire. So it's only going to be just Jappy who will try to survive this for KHI Esports. Blanks, fortunately, he's not getting hit with those frag grenades, but again, more than likely, you will just die there. Circle will also come into a close, and looks like it actually went to MSI.
Yeah, so far they're holding it pretty well. We'll see whether if these teams will be able to put just about enough pressure. I mean, they've been able to cover themselves through the spine of the hills. And Jappy, so far, have found a little bit of that space, but that's not all too safe. He's using his vehicle for cover for temporary measures. And while the rest of Aja Esports are also trailing very closely, they've made that arrival from the southwestern corner of the map. And any further they go, they'll be met with the rest of infamous Xaviera. For now, we'll see an equal distribution across the map, while NGGZ is also getting pinned down. And you can just tell how difficult it is to play through some of these terrains, being over onto the open grounds, and all these teams are looking to make their way across. We'll see whether if TTQ can journey their way safely in.
And this is the beauty of Rondo. You can definitely change the terrain as well. As, Burmese goals now. Master Richie will have to defend. He's all alone in the smoke at TTQ. Able to defeat Burmese goals right at mid. But then here comes the third party from behind now. NGGZ. While this is happening, Master Hanga, the kill feed goes down. But here comes the frag grenade. And with the horse also. Look at that. Looks like he's going to try to hold on for a while. And wait for his other teammates on the back line to try to get closer as well. And while this is happening, also, teams are also fighting. YG and Team Hyra also fighting, also with the Ostra as well, all at the same time. NGGZ now tries to cook up the nade. They need information. Oh, but look at Bunny. Bunny exploded in the car. What happened to Bunny?
Man, there's just so much pressure upon those members of TTQ. They're just trying to play by the spawn and kill, and there's barely enough cover. Only a couple of trees as well as their vehicles as barricade for the moment, while NGGZ is just plowing those numbers up, while the rest of Team Max are also looking to secure a couple of points from the other corner. Two members of IQ down. Meanwhile, Mitchie finally gets the catch. Only down to Gus. How long can he hold on? NGGZ have to draw in a couple of smokes just to cover the ground for the moment. But once it subsides, it will also be very dangerous for them to play this one out.
Ooh, but looks like Jarrell will get those bullets from, and actually a third-party team, Infamous Xaviera, from a far distance up on the hill. They're able to find the players of NGGZ, so they now going for the defensive side as Team Max, Kornai, comes in. Oh, but no! Why is he on the passenger? He's trying to spray down using that car meta spray, but then again, here comes Trezzy, who goes for the cleanup. Good thing he was there, as now Team Max able to survive, now set up the smoke, but again, here comes the frag grenade from Ostja, as Fern G now throws in one. I think it's just a smoke or probably a frag grenade, but looks like they're gonna bail out at this moment. They're gonna just focus on the circle right now, and more than likely will go for the recovery on Ostja top.
Yeah, so far so good for the side of Team Max. They've been playing so aggressively, and now they form a little bit of that bunker by the edges. But take a look at Asa Esports. They now get the advantage of the zone with a 3-1 split formation. Big nades coming across. YG currently in trouble as they try to fight their way across Yulin. But this has been the gridlock, and it doesn't seem like they can get out of it. That nade connected beautifully coming from the side of Capo, and it might just allow room for a push. But SaintCloud says otherwise. He suppresses Min as the blue zone is drawing to close. They do have a couple of vehicles, but that Molotov is making it harder for them to actually execute.
Oh yeah, definitely. It will just limit the area where they can actually run or walk. But for now, Capo just trying to gatekeep Young Gun Galacticos from getting in Yulin. They're both actually outside the circle right now. A nade coming in from Smile as he eliminates Capo. And Team Hyra goes out with 3 eliminations. Here comes another frag grenade from TTQ. But this is going to be a 1v1 situation. Miracle with down to very low HP. Mitchie now comes in. He eliminates one. He tries to go for the finish. Successfully, NGGZ secures this portion of this circle as they eliminate TTQ.
You know what I call this? The watch party buff. I mean, overall, all the PH teams are doing so well. NGGZ have already secured themselves 9 points in this round. Meanwhile, we go back towards the side of Asia Esports, trying to close in upon those members of Team Max. A couple of the Netflix being thrown right in, and Asia Esports, they're further suppressing all these areas, but you goes in for the push. Not quite enough to handle 9X, however. X down below. We'll see which one will be the bigger of the axis. And Asa Esports have been able to trample the rest of teams.
And Team Max, unfortunately, I thought they had that chance against Ostja. But Ostja still manages to defeat them. But for now, YG, this is the bigger question now for YG. How will they push Team Winning a Future up on the hills of Yulin as they're now ready for those frag grenades? But again, Winning a Future not able to connect with those frag grenades. Oh, almost there for Murnat. Just down to half HP left for him. YG, though, still has 3 players left remaining. Looks like Winning a Future is now setting up those emergency flares also to provide them additional cover.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's actually been called in from inside YG, because they understand that there's just no space for them to play this one out unless they can find a little bit more cover for them to hide out. But they need to draw out all these resources coming in from WIOF. And he's now sitting right in. Not finding anything, though. Sin, so far, have been on the watch. Meanwhile, NGGZ is also rocking around this corner, so it isn't going to look all too easy for Yangon Galacticos. But so far, 5 points acquired. Still in the running, as there's only 7 teams remaining in this skirmish. Asa Esports on the far end, and so far has dictated the entire course of the zone. Meanwhile, great swing with the vehicle coming from Murnat to create that space, and now YG might have actually secured themselves a decent run into the zone, while Infamous Xaviera is looking to challenge the rest of NGGZ.
And for Infamous Xaviera, they're left with only 2. It's going to be Isay, and Claude. Oh, Claude, though, will eat a nade from MM. NGGZ is a different NGGZ now here in the finals. Probably what you said, that watch party buff is what they have right now. 10 eliminations here so far. for NGGZ, as MM will most likely go for the heal up. By the way, the circle also goes to wherever they are right now, together with the team Infamous Saviera. And for ISA, we'll just have to survive for now. But again, the continuation of the battle between Winning a Future and YG. Looks like YG is able to find ways on how to get into the circle.
Yeah, but when the rest of WIOS steps out, this is going to be even harder for them to really find that space up against Yangon Galacticos, who's been waiting in the wings to try to really turn the tides around. Plenty of all the other players are over onto the outskirts of the city of Yulin. And GGZ going for a widespread. Michi as well as MM will have to play as individuals for now. Once the zone subsides, it's going to cause a lot of chaos around that vicinity. Meanwhile, Big Nate's falling right through. Yangon Galacticos on the desperate attempt to push through. They find 2 knocks. St. Cloud already down on the ground. Burnett did manage to cut right through. Almost getting a couple of shots connected towards his back. Speaking of connecting shots, it's going to be Nang X that's been watching all along. Oh. And the nade is beautiful. Now it's only down to Burnett to salvage the situation.
Only down to only one. Mernat, he's kind of sandwiched in between 2 teams. Mernat tries to go for the spray down, but it's going to be 7 support who will go for the elimination on the kill feed for now, Winning a Future. It's, I think, down to only 1 player left. And for Nang X, he's going to try to go for the third party. Mernat goes for the spray. And Lucky actually finds Mernat, but he's unable to go for the connection of those bullets. But, oh, Mernat gets the final kill there. On to Winning a Future. YG still manages to survive here in the last moments of match number 1. And for Mernat, all he needs to do now is to go for third parties while the other teams are battling.
He's just a mechanical beast. I mean, overall, you saw that 180 flick. He was looking to suppress those players coming in from Austria Esports. And the moment he saw one player of WIOF tries to trade back, he was on open grounds and he just took no chances to really put him to sleep. Now into the top 4, we've got Austria Esports, YG, as well as NGGZ. MSI has already crashed out. Emergency coverage now being called in from the side of NGGZ. Fern looking around, but Burnett so far have shown us incredible 1-versus-1 skirmishes. So I would say that the odds, as much as it looks very much like it's in Austria's favor, we'll have to see if whether YG or NGGZ can overcome those numbers.
And I think Mernat can do it still, knowing that he was the Terminator for week number 2. So let's see. If, ooh, look at that nade though from Nang X. Nang X has that information, and Mernat still manages to avoid that frag grenade from Austria Esports. So he is able to heal up with a first aid. Still managed to crawl down towards the circle. And Austria will also have to think about of NGGZ's plans on what they can do here in the final moments of this matchup.
NGGZ has been nothing but impressive throughout this whole first match. I mean, they've been so proactive from the get-go, and looking at them now securing a top 3 run. By the end of the match, I think they might be the ones to be able to secure maximum points for the amount of eliminations that they've been able to acquire. Meanwhile, Austria Esports, if they can close this one out, they would still be able to top the table. We'll have to see about that, since Mernat can absolutely put a dent, but I won't think that is going to be for far too long. Being spotted out by members of Austria Esports, and that's a perfect 10 so far from Austria.
And Austria, 10 eliminations here so far. Same goes with NGGZ. And right now, it's a numbers advantage here between Austria and NGGZ. 3v2 situation here. They also have the high ground advantage. NGGZ right now doesn't have much of those covers and doesn't have those utilities as well here in the final moments. And Fern G, he's now able to show up a stun gun as well. And if you remember what the stun gun can do, again, Romeo got a taste in week number 1, but again, that is it. Austria Esports finally able to secure 1 here in the grand finals, as they got the first winner chicken dinner here in the finals in PMCL Fall.
Yeah, this is just big news for the Cambodians as they start off strong And initially when we're questioning where is Austin Esports' involvement in those early span of the duels, they don't want to be part of that shenanigan. They were just fixated on getting that party in the zone, and you saw how well they basically controlled the entire course of the area, being unchallenged for most part, and they absolutely stole it all by the tail end of it. With a total of 12 points accrued from eliminations, this is a hefty 22 points finish for the Cambodian side.
Yeah, for the Cambodians, Austria Esports, if you remember way back last year, when they had Red Bull, when they had GUI, they were very dominant, but now they don't have those players anymore because they already went to PMSL, Southeast Asia. So now it's going to be just up to Nangex and the rest of Austria Esports, and looks like they're able to do the job well here in the first match of the day. But again, it's just the first match of the day. There's still a lot of matches left to go for day number 1. There's 3 Erangels left and 2 Miramar maps left here for Austria Esports. So let's see what will be their performance in the upcoming matchups. But again, the stats here for Austria Esports: Nangex able to get 8 eliminations in this match, with 2 coming from FernG, 7 support getting 2 in top. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any eliminations. So again, a very dominant performance, most especially to Nangex.
Yeah, he certainly will be the MVP of the match. I mean, it's astounding, right, that one individual can cause so much havoc in the span of that just one round. And, the rest of the teammates have been able to also offer just about enough damage, but his finishing moves have been absolutely clean. Nangex so far showing off that he can do so much work throughout the span of Rondo.
Well, for now, Contra, again, amazing plays. For now, let's go watch the highlights here for match number 1.
Sure.
And again, Austria Esports getting the winner chicken dinner for match number 1. And look at now the scores here as we start off the finals. 22 points already in for Austria Esports. And for NGGZ, another good performance here for NGGZ. I believe in the last day of the group stage, it did manage to get a good performance. So it looks like the momentum is still with NGGZ here. But for the rest, again, here are the next page of the match rankings. Burmese goals, very surprising. They only got 1 point here, Contra, in the first match.
I think like they were trying to pull off some of all these early highs, but got themselves pretty much caught in between 2 teams, hence why they only walk away with 1. And it was pretty tough for them to also go in for the recall as well. So it's a little bit of a struggle for Burmese goals, but we'll see whether if they catch up. And even despite them only securing that 1 point, they are still pretty much within the top 3 because of the points gained from the past 2 super weekends. And now it's still YG holding that top spot, but it's Austria Esports that stole the show with that chicken dinner acquired. Now being put onto the number 2 spot, they can actually go in for some pretty steady climb up against the top dogs of Yangon Galacticos. While Team Max, their efforts were not in vain. They've been able to stash away 7 eliminations to be part of that equation in the top 4. And of course, NGGZ so far have absolutely impressed us, being one of the top 4 teams in this round.
Oh yeah, and with that 10 eliminations, again, that's very, very good for NGGZ, or not so good games. And again, for the top 4 teams, we have Austria, NGGZ, YG, and Winning a Future. Winning a Future, again, they did manage to get through, I think, top 6 or maybe top 5, but they cannot really suppress the push from Yangon Galacticos. They were even sandwiched in between NGGZ and Yangon Galacticos. So again, it's very hard for them to survive that game. And the MVP, as you said, Contra, will be Nong X, who got that 8 eliminations.
I mean, so far he has been really showing up to form. And like you said, that past result coming in from week 2's Super Weekend performance really got carried over right now towards this grand final stage, just showing us that Austria Esports have came into the grand finals absolutely prepared. And perhaps we'll see a lot more coming from Austria Esports, despite us scrutinizing, oh, it's been major roster shifts throughout the span of the past couple of months. But Nangak so far have been able to prove that he is still the veteran here in the PMCL.
Yeah, very well-experienced player is Nong X, though, one of the Terminators in Cambodia. But again, guys, please update your apps right now to the 4.0 update. Again, you'll enjoy the super smooth graphics, which is available right now. You can enjoy more of the frame rate options. Unfortunately, for my device, I'm not able to upgrade from 60 FPS. But for the others, like our official gaming phone for PMCL, which is the POVA 7 series, you can definitely experience the 120 FPS, and you might as well probably join in the fun in the tournaments of PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a sign here for you to upgrade your phone, buddy. So, that being said, round 1 is complete. Now we're going to be moving into 3 rounds back-to-back in Wrangle. We'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes. Rondo's been done and dusted, and now we head back into the classic map of Erangel for 3 rounds, back to back to back. Starting things off, we're moving it from the southern corners of the Sanaska Islands to be headed into the corners of shooting range, and there's absolutely plenty of options available for all of the players on board. And my, game 1, Asia Esports, they got such a beautiful head start, and we'll see if they can do it one more time.
Yeah, they will probably do it one more time. They will most likely avoid MSI at Pochinki. If you remember from week number 1, they did try to go for those hot drop session with Misfit International and Pochinki, so they will go towards school and apartments area out of this moment. So they will avoid that. Everyone will basically avoid these hot drop sessions here in Erangel. They will more than likely focus on looting for the very first stage of this matchup. And for KHI though, and I think for Infamous Javiera, they will probably have a little bit of engagement trying to get those vehicles early on in this game. Oh no, and look at that! Team Max and Team Nexus Vanguard, as Joji goes down already, as they went for the drive-by, goes for that early elimination. That's going to be the first blood of this matchup.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. I mean, despite them securing those vehicles, it came at a cost. And now NX, they might be able to actually loot up, so perhaps this could be a strike to draw an exchange up against those members of Team Max, but unfortunately, there's just no open fire from either side of the party, so Team Max, they were given that little bit of leeway to kickstart off this run by securing the first blood. So Team Max, last round, they have been looking absolutely feisty, and I'm thinking that they're going to do exactly the same moving into this matchup.
So for Nexus Vanguard, they will, manage to still keep 3 players here alive here in the first stage of Erangel. They will go to their usual area, which is in Novo Repnoye. They will go for their usual rotation, which is at the right side bridge. But again, they already had lost some firepower here in the very early stages. So they might want to keep that in mind for next game. As for now, GOA, Guardians of Angels, Clay Jr., again, the IGL of the squad, they sometimes go on a spree where they get those chicken dinners, kind of like what they did in the group stage. But for now, they will have to wait on for that circle to be on their side. IQ, though, again, those early engagements will always happen to those teams who lands on a far direction of that flight path. And for IQ, they usually drop right around Milta Power. So that's why they're kind of on a battle here against Infamous Javier, who drops at Milta area. So you can see now Forsaken here at Milta area, able to get a buggy. So for now, it's going to be quiet here in the first stages. Only that one first blood off from Team Max and Nexus Vanguard.
Yeah, and after the steady notion overall, I mean, this is, after all, no longer in Rondo for these players to really farm up those big points early on. And of course, they got to shift their mindset into playing a little bit more conservatively than to really go guns blazing as compared to what we saw last round. I mean, we've seen certain teams really come up with some pretty interesting setups as well, especially throughout the span of those mid-game hours. There's going to be a lot of all these traps being laid out to see if they could actually draw teams rotating across those corners. So far, no camps across the bridge, though. Good news for the side of Guardians of Angel, as they do find a member of TTQ. Hovering around the corner, Gus, lucky enough not to be sprayed down. And he should be able to at least find a little bit of that space inside of Fair Pure for the moment. Clay Jr. hot on the wheels, as they're probably going for a little bit of a chase if they want to. As the rest of KHI so far have shown us some impressive work back in the match of Rondo, but it was just down to certain decision making for them to really play it a little bit cleanly. The last we saw was like a lot of stretch of spaces where the moment that he got caught off, things could just fall off like dominoes.
Oh, and look at that. IQ able to find Max U. So that's going to be it for one of the guys of Team Max, though they lose another, that one member. So it's kind of like what happened to whatever they did to Nexus Vanguard here. So for IQ, they will continue to control the areas at Milta Power. For TTQ, though, they have to be careful. They're very nearby MSI. It looks like MSI went for an early rotation from Pochinki now up to the hills down on south of Pochinki. And looks like Pretzel is just observing whatever Zuki is doing right now. He finds the vehicle, so he does know that there's someone right in here.
Surely they would be able to identify, but the question is, are they going to be going in for a firm push? It's a little rather risky. I mean, a couple of tags are being sent towards their location, but not much after that. The rest of Guardians of Angel, just making sure that the rest of TDQ is in respectable distance for the meantime.
And for the Guardians of Angels, like what I said, they can go on a spree of chicken dinners, kind of like what they did in the group stage, where the circle actually went to them, kind of like what YG has been doing with the circle. They always manage to predict where the circle would go. For now, YG will go rotate all the way at the areas of Pochinki, right on the western side of the church area. But look at range spraying down on Clay Jr. as they confirm him right away with an ASM Abakan, a weapon that has now been used here in PMCL, a very effective one to say the least.
Yeah, and it's great to actually see these players get adjusted so quickly as well. I mean, overall, MSI, they've been able to really strike really hard from long distances, and once more, they've been able to thrive. And liking that, teams, the moment that there is a new release of weapons, they're already labbing it out, dropping into the shooting range to really get some good practice done. And yeah, it definitely allows them to really amp up their firepower. And I think this is what's necessary for a lot of these players competing at such a high level. Whereas, we take a look at the members of Asia Esports. They've been planted here for a long time. So GG, they're just swinging by. Thankfully, not caught out just yet, but might just be the case where support might be able to puncture him through the vehicle. Master D2K is pretty much allowed to have a little bit more space to work with for the meantime. So that's going to be all right for them to work this one out completely.
And that was a very risky play by Master D2K, also known as Shroud, who did not have any info in that barn house where GG already, or where another team already has their team in. So for now, he will survive. He will manage to avoid those bullets. Circle will now come into a close. We're going on to stage number 2. Where will this circle go? Ooh, it will go down. Wow. And the circle might go down to the island of Snovka, I would say.
And the weird part about this is that GOA, they came from the islands, and now they are looking to swing right back. And they caught out the rest of WIOF just across the corner, but they're stopping at nothing. They really want to get into that space first and foremost and look to turn it up around. Already drawing some exchange is YOLO's, hoping to hold down the line. Can he actually find Outnickel? A little bit of a tight race between some of them, and doesn't seem like they've been able to really align all these shots. Joey will just continue to trail them from right behind, but it's going to be WIOF that will be looking for a quick swing up towards the hillside to quickly go for a setup.
And for GOA, they were like just scratching their heads right now. They could have just stayed at the bridge area to maybe just, go for those bridge camp as the circle shifted downwards. Say Cloud, though, will eliminate Zuki. And they will be the ones going for the bridge camp right at the lighthouse area as well on the left side bridge. On the right-hand side bridges, for the meantime, Nexus Vanguard, Superboy, is actually stuck right beside the buggy. Good thing he's able to pop that smoke. And for Infamous Saviera, I would say to just, bail out from that scene. They don't have really much of any cover. And just focus on positioning inside the circle.
Yeah, that's all they could possibly farm up for the meantime. A lot of teams now for that priority inside the zone. Meanwhile, Bertles, after having a little bit of a dismal performance back in round one, you can see that they're being a little bit more conservative this time around. As there's also going to be the option for the hovercraft to just swing right across. IQ got it pretty much handed to them to try to really wrap around the island. So a really smart call. Since this is still very early in stage 2, they can afford to tank out some amount of damage for the meantime.
And for Infamous Savera, they actually have really good head start points, to be honest with you. All they need to do now here in the finals is to continue to be consistent if they want to be the best, Filipino squad in their own region. But for now, they will have to manage that when it comes to, positioning. TTQ sees the players of Austria Esports. This is Gus right on top of the roof. They also have to take care of YG, who is keeping anyone who comes right through that bridge. For CTS Esports, coming from kind of late here, to say the least. And they're now going to try to get into this compound, but they don't know. Looks like they will know now as they crash in. Koldo will go down eventually. And now here comes the push from Michi. He takes down. Ooh, Michi takes down one, as well as WOM goes down also for CTS. While the circle has shifted down again at Sosnovka Military Base Island. And for CTS, they're left with only one. DOS will have to bail out from the scene, and now looks like he's stuck at this compound.
Yeah, he knows that there's not much to play for, so he's trying to form up a little bit of a last stand, but now that draws the attention of the rest of NGGZ. Miner now on the chase. He's got that grenade cooked up. Doesn't take long for DOS to actually swing by, so he will be able to convert one. But that's all that he wrote. CTS, they got out. I mean, NGGZ so far have been really efficient on taking charge of all these early fights, and they just look so good on those close quarter combat action. Though it is a little bit of a casualty upon Miner. Now they do have a lot of free space for them to also get by into the island.
That would be either going through the bridge or going through the waters. As look at the team, Hyra Ryujin goes right at the edge of the island, northern island of Erangel, but he's actually going to be pinned down by Master Ichi. As he goes for the spray, he goes down. Here comes Unknown as well, as they battle against Team Hyra. And right as we go back to the houses where TTQ and Ostja are going into a fight, Bunny, though, will take a hit. But now here comes Miracle. Also, Miracle takes those hits, but he actually goes down. No, it's actually going to be Bunny who goes down with a CQC battle with Nong X. Nong X is still on fire coming from Rondo.
Yeah, I mean, overall, they've been able to really hold down the line. Austria Esports now getting suppressed with a beautiful toss coming from Gus. You know that he's been hiding around those corners. It doesn't seem like support has been able to dodge that one off completely, and now they're going to be on that deficit. Well, I say deficit is still 2 members versus total of 3. Revive to eventually fall through, but Gus is on the watch, so that won't happen under the care of Miracle. So that confirms a grenade elimination for the side of Gus. Meanwhile, Austria Esports doesn't look like they're too concerned because they know that the rest of TTQ is pressured as well, so they can afford to just get into the waters and just leave TTQ to dry out.
Yeah, for TTQ now, they will just try to go through the blue, maybe try to go through wherever YG is actually staying. But for now, let's switch over to where Nexus Vanguard is currently at. And they're going to be up against Team KHI Esports. Circle, by the way, has shifted. Looks like it went over to Messiah's at. GOA also has a very good hillside down on the bottom area of that circle. But for now, let's take a look at what's happening here between Nexus Vanguard and KHI Esports. Cute Loki now going for those suppressing fire from the backline. They are actually hearing some vehicles over from Team Max. But look at this. Claire finds Lil Yatka. So Lil Yatka will bow down for now. Early in this matchup here in stage number 4, Michi, though, will go out. A lot of battles happening right now as Team Infamous Savera also comes into the east side of the zone. And look at this. Unknown also goes down in the blue zone. Claude now comes in. Ooh, and actually goes down courtesy of that MiG spray with a Scarl. But now Migs will try to go for the elimination here onto Infamous Savera. Forsaken will probably be the last guy here for the squad. It looks like they were able to do so as Infamous Savera got gatekept at the eastern side. And while that is happening, a lot of things also on the kill feed happening as Smile goes down and Unknown will finally bow down, will bleed, and will die in the blue zone. Looks like still YG is doing that gatekeep at the bridge area. And for now, they will have to defend themselves against GG.
Yeah, overall, it's just so difficult for some of these teams to really get across. Meanwhile, IQ has been able to really hold firm. The rest of GG now tries to close in over onto the hillside. Ample space to play out inside the island, but then again, the zone is already creeping right in. Stage 4 is going to hurt if they're going to be spending time over on the outskirts of the blue zone. Meanwhile, St. Cloud with a great catch upon Master DTK opens up a little bit more in that space, while MM tries to draw a little bit of a fine line for the rest of NGGZ. Also cut right through Rex now. Finds one out of YG. And he further confirms it. So GOA, they're onto something right now. While BG, they're hoping to just get by through the waters, but doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to do with Astya on the watch.
And Astya just having a little bit of hard time trying to cross that waters of Sosnovka. Here with Top, still not able to manage to cross over. He's going to probably just be there to suppress fire for his teammates. As Dongx swims over the waters, looks like he's able to manage to get some hits over to Misfit International as they're gonna try to hide in the smokes. For now, they will survive, but for how long will they survive now?
Yeah, they really have to lease by a little bit more time. Well, it's a little bit of a pressure situation for that member of Asia Esports to even draw it to a close. And just like that, there's no more suppressive fire coming right through. Well, Burmese Goals, they're lucky enough to be able to land their hands onto a boat. Well, Godspeed have also went into limited Top because he's been shooting around the corners, and the moment that they saw him over on feet and he's knocked out, they just take that for free. Not quite so for the rest of MSI. They're pretty much bunched up inside the shack, unable to trade back, and that allows Claire to now shred them all apart.
And Claire right now, together with KHI, putting in the pressure, actually on both sides, Hyra and Misfit International. I would suggest for them to go for Misfit International because they're all stuck in that small shack, as also with that frag grenade, Claire connected as he takes down one. It's only going to be only one left in the small shack for MSI. Now here comes the push for KHI. Oh, looks like they had some second thoughts on going for that push. Blanks just came back. And looks like Chappie gets the frag grenade in, connecting to range, and he goes down. And only one player left for the side of MSI. And he's actually far away from this. Oh, not far away, but just close by. Just down on the ground is Monboy using those smokes as cover. Oh, Black's also at the bike, and here comes the drive-by from Migs as they eliminate Misfit International.
KHI looking so clean so far, and Claire's looking for more. He almost drops Lucky out. Thankfully, there's backup coming in from Migs to be able to cover fire, but YOLO's putting in the pressure with those grenades. Hyra also getting a little busy up against WROF. YOLO's won't be able to last all too long, and that shutdown comes out from Vlangs. KHI is on an absolute spree. 10 points right now to their name. As once more, we're looking at a lot of Filipino teams surging up the board.
KHI, a much different KHI is what I'm watching right now. Currently so far with 10, but here comes Min. Up close and personal against winning a future. Shin, though, does have the advantage. Whoa, but with low HP, Min survives. Hyra still manages to survive that with only 2 players left remaining. And by the way, they're inside the zone as well, right at the eastern side, so they will manage to survive this stage.
So far, Min's been doing an incredible job to really hold down the fort. 3 points for Hyra. Well, we're looking at the rest of the field to be having just about safe enough a region to play for the moment. Goa sweeping by the edges. We've seen how much GOA can have certain impact when given the room to do so. Now just wrapping around the corners, making sure that the coast is clear for the moment while they're keeping an eye out over the top side of the hill. And GG could actually cause a little bit of a pressure once that zone shifts back over the south side. But for now, they're hunkering down, making sure that they'll be able to defend their ground for the moment while the rest of NX IQ is moving across with the hovercraft. And they're looking for a little bit of a firm challenge. So we'll see whether or not can the rest of GG hold firm. Seems like they're just holding out. They don't seem to have enough manpower to be able to push up against the rest of GG. They got themselves in the zone, so that's great news. But not so good news is that the rest of GG, they found them right underneath the hillside. So they're going to be looking to secure that space instead. And GOA has been spotted by the rest of NGGZ, and just like that, the initiation is looking rather clean coming from NGGZ as they look to drop those double nades. Is it gonna connect? Yes, it does onto Ngapical.
Yes, it connected to Ngapical. Alex, or should I say KS, also known as KS, has built out from that area, bombs away from NGGZ. And now for Ngapical, more than likely he won't get that revive anymore. Probably he will try to crawl to his teammates because they do have that rich advantage here against NGGZ. And now for Jarrell, they cannot go up all because of those other teams from different angles trying to spray on them. So for GOA, they will manage to get Ngapical up. But the question is, how will they get into circle? And now Devon goes for the third party. Able to see the players of GOA. Now Rex will just leave them all alone there. And for Astro, though, will be spotted by MM. But here comes Rex. He goes in towards to YG. Oh, he missed Master Smile over there. He actually lands onto the tree, but then he dies in the process. That is it for GOA.
That's a very desperate attempt, and he could have actually found those 2 players of Yagon Galacticos and wiped them off clean. But unable to do so, unfortunately. Devon also in the same predicament. Barely any HP left on the block. Doesn't seem like he has enough mets as well to recover. Gotta play it real slow. Literally only decked out with 7 frag grenades, full offense, 0 recovery rate, and 0 utility. And GG, they just hope to back a couple more points before they bow out, potentially. If he tosses towards the tree, he will be able to find those 2 members of YG instead. But he's being fixated into the corners of the smoke. And finally, he tosses one right across. Does it connect is going to be the question.
Will probably connect. Oh, still not connecting.
Oops.
Another one goes in. Actually connected a little bit to Romeo. As those damage has been dealt. He will probably go for the heal up though. Oh, but MM take damage as well. Devon is down to just 1 HP. Actually doesn't have any meds anymore here, Contra.
That's what I've been saying. Like, this guy hanging by a very thin thread, and he just unloads every single death lead as well. I mean, overall, he's pretty much a sitting duck, which is why he's trying to fight it out, and he denies himself outside of the blue zone. I guess that's the best call, essentially, where you're not giving points away for the teams competing. And at least it's a top 8 run, so they will be able to still add 1 more in placement.
Oh yeah, for GG. They did manage also to get 5 eliminations here, so still a GGWP for GG. But the circle has already shifted all the way to Team Max. Oh, but Team Max will be naded by MM, but MM unfortunately goes out in the open and will get sprayed down by a different team. But they leave the game with 9 elims.
It's so crazy that in the grand finals we are opening with a Sanoska finish. And I think that it's going to get even worse from here on for the next couple of rounds. Yangon Galacticos somehow did survive the brunt of the damage for how long they've been able to really camp over onto this open terrains. Not so much so for those members of Hyra. Well, is that Hyra? Yes, it is. Now only down to 1 man only. NX also hiding inside the shack. Barely enough cover for anyone to really work with. Team Max also bunched over onto the far corner. YG is just hoping to squeeze real tight into the next zone. Well, take a look at the K-Shot. They're looking like they could actually take this chicken dinner home. I mean, they've got 4 members still intact, whereas every other team, they've been battered and bruised trying to get their way into the island.
Oh, but Capo tried to risk it all by trying to push that small shack. Unfortunately, gets spotted by Infinity IQ. And for Infinity IQ, they don't have any meds anymore. Probably same as what GG had endured earlier on. For now, they're still continuing on to the spray down onto KHI. But again, their players are actually on the edge of the circle. They're chasing onto that circle. And for now, they will probably manage because Claire will also have to get into the zone.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. IQ eventually gets deterred by the members of Team Max from all the way right across. For the IQ, decent run for them. And now all to play for KHI, 4 members strong. And now it's only down to individuals as we're looking at more and more names being picked apart from the list. Team Max having only 1 member healthy and alive for the moment. Master Smile tries to close up any form of gap right under the Sia. But I'm afraid that this really causes him to run out of space. It's already down to stage 8. They've got only about 30 seconds to push through. Perhaps the best option right now is to really deny those points away while the rest of Team Max tries to hustle up against Claire. And I don't think it's going to take too long. Jappy is already closing the distance, and those nades are being flocked right into those corners where Team Max is currently at.
And Nexus Vanguard will get spotted and eliminated. Oh, with a beautiful nade from Jappy, eliminating the whole squad of Team Max. Now we're only down to 1 left for KHI. Claire goes down though. Smile still trying to survive here, but he's out in the open, downwards on the bottom side of the zone. He only does have a Murado, which is already broken. Nowhere place to go for Master Smile. It is actually a 2v1 though.
There's barely enough wiggle room. I mean, overall, he's gonna go in with the last stand, and he will allow KHI to secure the win. I mean, overall, it's been a very clean finish for KHI, and they have gotten the most amount of eliminations in this round alone. So it's another big win for the Philippines this time. Moving into match 2, KHI, clad in gold, looking for the golden trophy to take home.
And this is probably the best match that KHI played all throughout this season. From group stage, now here in the finals. Starting good here in the grand finals as well for KHI Esports. And if I remember it right, from PMNC PH, they really struggled all throughout the first couple of the grand final days. But this time around, they are starting really strong.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's really convincing that they might be able to really secure the title if they can continue at this kind of rate. I mean, we saw how difficult it was for all these teams to even fight inside of the island, let alone getting into the island as well. I mean, KHI, they've been able to really sweep a lot of all these teams, create that gap, and eventually once they get themselves that corner over in the northeastern corner map, it's pretty much done and dusted, where nobody has been able to contest up against them. And Claire, so far, he's been impeccable, but so are his teammates. You saw everybody got their hands busy. 800 over damage from Jappy as well as Mix, while Claire finishes the job. I think this is just, by far, like you said, their best overall performance of the season.
Yeah, their best overall this season, but they need to continue. Again, the goal is to be the #1 team. The goal is to beat Yangon Galacticos, and this might be the start as they were able to, eliminate Smile, the best IGL from that PMWC tournament. And by the way, look at the lineup here for KHI. If you remember Claire from back in the days, together with Blanks, and now with the
Blacklist.
upcoming with upcoming Jappy and also Mig. So it's a combination of those experienced veterans together with those players who just had their experience, like 2 years of experience here in the PUBG Mobile esports scene. But anyways, Contra, let's watch the beautiful highlights here in match number 2.
An absolute wonderful performance coming out of KHI Esports, securing themselves 26 points. You can see from second place onwards, they were just merely touching those double digits, and these guys, they look to double or even triple that. Yangon Galacticos, they finished off second, but they didn't have enough eliminations to be able to draw it up close up against NGGZ, and so far 2 rounds in a row, the Philippines have been able to really impress us with those massive numbers throughout.
Most specifically, NGGZ, 2 good games coming from not so good games. From their team name, they're having so good games right now, from Rondo to Erangel. So they need to continue if they really want to be that champion here in this region. But for now, let's update now the overall rankings. Still, YG is the one on top with 49 points, but look at KHI now with 37 points. Austria Esports now at third with 31. Team Max right still there with 31. You have to look out for Team Max here, Contra, because if you look back in PMCL Summer, Team Max all of a sudden went up, and then they managed to end up at top 3 overall. So let's take a look at Team Max at the later stages here, because they will try to go for a comeback.
Surely enough. I mean, take a look at Burmese goals as well. 0 placement points throughout 2 matches is rather concerning. So that allows Team Max to currently tie them up with 31 points so far. These are our current top 4 teams on the table as we can make comparisons in this match alone. I mean, KHI, they were second to none because they've been able to really find that firm spot to really hold out, and they just punished through those teams who were struggling to even find any compound to even cover up. So you can definitely tell that it is definitely hard, but so far NGGZ, KHI, they've been really putting up the good work, and Claire is the MVP of the match. As much as, you know, he has the most elimination points, his teammates were the one dishing plenty of damage. I mean, 680 over is still super impressive from what we're getting out of Claire. And I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with him. You've probably, known him for a very long time. I think his work rate so far is really showing that he's pretty much in his prime form.
And this is the Claire that, a much different Claire, to say the least, because way back in Blacklist International, he was the fragger. But before we even continue that conversation, again, guys, make sure to update your apps right now. It is available on version 4.0. The super smooth graphics, more stable frame rate, smoother combat, Again, this means that you'll be able to, defeat those probably those players that are really good in classic event matches. And you can probably join in the fun as well in Ultimate Royale matches because, that's a much different game compared to classic matches. But, anyways, Contra, again, we're done with match number 2. Match number 1 goes to Austria Esports. KHI will take match number 2. Who will take match number 3 as we go on a really short break here. Contra and Kuku TV will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a third match of the PMCL Southeast Asia Fall 2025 Grand Finals. Coming from that win from KHI Esports, let's see now where will the circle go as we start with the flight from the bottom of the map. It's kind of like the same as what we had in the previous matchup, Contra, right?
Yeah, this is almost identical. If anything, maybe this cuts closer to 70. But honestly, there's not much of a difference where we saw there were some contests for those vehicles early on. GOA, if it's going to be another island finish, I don't think they'll be moving into the mainland all too quickly, though. So we'll have to see how this one plays out this time around. Surely it won't be twice in a row that we're getting pretty much a similar sort of ending, right? So we'll have to, of course, wait and tell while we'll see if there's going to be any form of a payback. Since we've got those kind of early pickoffs that went on, TDQ this time will be having a little bit of a distance spread between them as well as another member of Raw to the 12 houses. So for now, things are looking to be starting off on a very steady note for a majority of them. And you know what? I'll take my words back. We run it one more time into the island, perhaps.
And you know what? There's a little bit of adjustment here from Nexus Vanguard. They now went towards the bottom road side of that island of Sosnovka compared to earlier. They went onto the northern side where they lose one member. So they're just avoiding those early engagements. And speaking of early engagement, we have CTS and GG Esports right up Gatka. And they do manage to get those guns early in this matchup. I think Astro, not so sure if he does have a gun, as he's just throwing those, probably those utilities, early utilities here. Does have a pistol on hand, though. But looks like Team CTS. Probably Devon is using a explosive arrow. You can hear those explosions from the background. And for now, it's going to be a standoff here between the two. But look at now on the kill feed, TTQ.
Yeah,
Ooh, loses two now. And that's the first blood for Zuki.
Wow, that is absolutely massive. I mean, for them to get such an initiation this early on, they've been able to set this camp up. And just like that, GOA, they caught 3 players in a row. 2 out of TDQ, I believe another one was from Nexus Vanguards as well, as you were mentioning that they were sharing the islands. So, a little bit of a struggle for these teams to really get by, GOA being so proactive. Meanwhile, it does not help CTS or GG whatsoever because they're sunk inside the field of Gakta. Astro now being caught, and Cool so far have been diligent of all the positioning so far.
And good thing he's able to get the roof so that he will be able to get that vantage point against GG Esports, as we are now able to see the replay. Here's how Pacquiao was able to get that elimination early on in the game. And then for GOA, they went towards Sosnovka military base, but they went on an early rotation here, right on the left side bridge to, gatekeep all those teams who was going for an early rotation as well. Kind of like what MSI is doing here. Monboy is now trying to get on top of this bridge, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know that there's GOA right there waiting at the end of the bridge.
Not at all. MSI has to be absolutely careful about this advancement. Rex just by the scaffolding. I believe that they should have suspected that there are people around and they're taking wide swings. This is a little dangerous, and speaking of which, Rex now opens fire. Bring down that member into 50%, and they're just gonna go in for that wide swing, getting a little bit more cover, forcing to play around the edges. And now it's gonna be a little bit of standstill. This bridge is gonna be locked out for either parties to really get their gowns pretty much covered. But MSI, they came in prepared. Now we want to see on the other sector, it's going to be NX holding down the line. Great damage done towards Team Max. And so far, Team Max, we've sung praises for them. They've been doing well. But can they find a way to cut through?
And I was just about to say that this is kind of like what Nexus Vanguard is doing. And now Nexus Vanguard is now doing it on the right side bridge. For GOA, they are doing it on the left side bridge. So kind of an adjustment here for the gameplay of GOA. Usually they just try to stay at the hillside, right on the left side area of the Sosnovka Island. So they are looking to get those elimination points here in the early stages of map number 3. For now, Nexus Vanguard is looking for the players of Team Max, and looks like Trezzy is backing out. He doesn't want to get a piece of the Nexus Vanguard bullets right now, and he's gonna dive into the waters underneath this bridge. So he will try to, survive for now, Contra. And for both bridge, it's being gatekept by these two teams.
Oh boy. And it just makes things so much more difficult for the teams who are starting off in the mainland, and there's still plenty of these teams who want to look for an opening. I guess the best way out right now is to take a couple of boats to really get into the island, but certain teams, they say, hey, it's still stage 1, we can afford to wait. Maybe Mike swing back into the mainland, who knows? If it's going to be the mainland, I think maybe small little areas like Farm or even close towards, the outskirts of Pochinki is going to be holdable. I say holdable because it's unconfirmed yet. Nexus Vanguards, despite them really putting quite a showing through the bridges, it seems like they have one member succumbing to the kind of pressure that they've been putting up with. Meanwhile, Clay Jr. He's trying to squeeze these angles. He sees Raimon. Range also dangerously close. I think he might as well just open fire. I mean, you miss all the shots you don't try. And there we go. Perfect catch.
Yep, perfect. Spray from Clay Jr. And this is good gameplay being shown right now by GOA. They're just not letting any of these teams to cross over that bridge. And you can see on the mini-map right now, Contra, Monboy is forced to swim at the waters of Sosnovka, and maybe you will try to go for a flank here. Pretzel and the rest of MSI will just have to wait it out until Monboy crosses that water, and maybe to cross that island now, and maybe to flank out the players of GOA. But looks like GOA will bail out from that area now and will focus on this bridge. And the other teams might as well will try to close in and maybe go for a sandwicher for MSI, I think.
It's still a great read from MSI. I mean, overall, they've been able to spot that player has been able to traverse right across the hillside. So they're not going to just leave Ngapikel here to dry out all by himself. Still on top of the scaffold, though. Hard position to be flushed out by those members of MSI. But if there's anyone to do it, I think it's going to be Ryman. I mean, he's got the DP28, but he's pulling over onto the lower ridge. Now we go over back across the mainland. It seems like Team Max are looking towards getting the way across the river, maybe by just full sending it into the waters and just swim through Novoripnoe. This time around, more coverage over on to the central grounds on Miller Base. Last round, we see it end up over on the North Point. It could very well happen again. We'll have to see if that's going to be pretty much the same case as compared to Game 1. The rest of Asia Esports yet to make the cut as well. I think last round we also saw Asia Esports struggle because they were a little too late to make that entry. This time, I think they're sending out a couple of players just to really do some quick checks before they rotate into the island. Meanwhile, Char and I looking to close in up against the rest of Infinity IQ.
Chernai right now waiting for Infinity IQ. By the way, they're in the blue zone right now, so they will have to use meds as well. They will have to check those meds as well. If they don't have enough, they might as well go for the boats that is right on the right-hand side of our screens. Chernai, though, is ready for action here. He will go for the spray. Once those players from IQ rides the boat, Nady, though, will probably be the ones to fight Chernai. But look at Chernai. He does only have an M16, so not a gun that you would want in this kind of scenario.
Yeah, I felt like he overaggressed too early on. A better read would be like what you mentioned, right? Let them get the boats and just shred the boat apart later on. Meanwhile, he gets those beautiful angles with his M4. gets the job done. Well, Natty also needing to heal up. I mean, he does not have any meds, which is why you're looking at Team Max. They're trying to fight their way out, and it starts to make me understand as to why they did not wait for far too long, because they kind of need the boat for themselves.
Yeah, they also need that boat in order for them to cross right at the bottom side of the map. For now, Chernai, not so sure. He's going to go for the heal up, but looking at the situation, he's going to go for the aggressive push here onto Nady. Nady is holding that DPS. Rex, though, on the kill feed will go down. And this is going to be MSI. Oh, and Max Yu finds Nady right at the corner of this stone or the rock formation, and they go for the kill. But again, the continuation of the battle between GOA and MSI. And looks like MSI has already had circled around and boxed in GOA.
Yeah, I mean, Team Max, they have such a great game sense that might actually save you in that situation. A couple of bandages at the very least. Being back towards the bridges, MSI have been able to really push through, putting pressure onto Ngape Cal, and eventually looking to secure it. Ramon now lands his hands onto the third point, being secured from MSI. While we go back into the military base, it is TDQ to have all hands on deck up against the rest of WIOF. And they've been able to really form up a solid defense inside of this bunker for the meantime. Claire and the rest of K-Shine will also follow suit to also gain a little control inside of the military base. TDQ so far starts off good, but then again, they're only left with 2 members, so a little rather concerning as to how deep of a run will they actually accomplish. Whereas the rest of Asia Esports still by the bridges, finding their opening to try to push right through, but they've been gatekeeping the rest of Hyra for some time. This allowing them any form of entry point. So Hyra, they're going to slowly bleed out. I mean, it's already stage 3. I think the only way is to just drive through, but nah, this is going to cost them a lot.
I would probably say Hyra would just need to swim. I mean, they had to swim earlier on. If they swim now, they won't be able to survive the blue zone. Yeah, it's too late. So they don't have any much choice but to just cross this bridge and to fight against Austria Esports. But look at the backside of Austria. Nexus Vanguard still waiting at the right side bridge, not going for the rotation in the circle. And Superboy manages to get those damage done onto top. For now, Austria will have to wait it out for the blue zone to continue on to move. For Min and the rest of Hyra, they will also need to wait. So it's a battle of patience here at this bridge.
I mean, Austria is the one caught in between, right? They have to either focus onto the rest of NX or those coming from the back. I mean, Hyra, they just have to just force their entry. There's just no point in waiting anymore. Asia Esports still has 2 more first aid kits in the hands of Nang X, the MVP of the past round of Rondo. And it seems like this is just a very desperate attempt coming out of Hash to see if we can still find any form of items inside of all these compounds. While Team Max, they got punished for being a little too late. I mean, certain teams, when they're already overly committed in the zone, you just really got to battle for every scrap of points that they can actually acquire. Short Knight now slowly bleeding out. I think he's got only a couple of all these bandages as well as boosters to work this out. So he's hugging by the corner of the wall. I think he's already been spotted out, and all that's left to do is just formalities for NGZ to secure the points.
Oh, but here comes CTS now. Oh, Demios goes up, but then crashes and burning. Cole right now will be the last guy left here at this very position. Devon will have to defend himself. He's right up there at the hillside. Will be the only member left for the side of CTS, and CTS still struggling right now. But Devon will be the last guy. Third party from behind. YG eliminates GG, and CTS will survive for now.
Oh, what a massive defense that was. I mean, he really saved the entirety of his team by doing so. And I would definitely say that was also a little bit of an overaggression being shown from the opposite team as well. I mean, it is definitely daunting when you are already driving into the street of teams waiting around that vicinity. I mean, that southwestern corner where you saw a couple of all these compounds up for grabs usually are occupied, and hence why certain teams, they just really want to look for alternatives like the ditch that CTS has been holding on to. And I just think that that was probably not the best of time to really go for the aggression. And GGZ late to the party and might be met with Min, who's looking to make his way across. Miner now taking a little bit of pit stop. I think the coast is clear. I mean, overall, Hyra also needs to get deeper into the zone. Even going into the island does not ensure their safety net just yet. Michi, he doesn't care. He just drives all the way straight into the zone. As much as it seemed pretty safe for now, I don't think it's going to be so any longer, especially with a lot of all these NX members waiting in the wing.
Yeah, pretty much open at the eastern side of this circle. So Michi and the rest of NGGZ will have the hovercraft as they manage now to get through the eastern side. They will control this area, though there's other teams who is already in zone. You can see that in the mini map now for KZ. It's just looking at the horizon here, checking if there are any other teams that they can actually spot out. Looks like he's gonna try to switch that hovercraft, that burning hovercraft, a much better vehicle that they can actually use. For now, it's very safe for the others, but I still think that there's still other teams right in the blue zone, right at the left side part of this island. As for the right side part or the eastern side, looks like the last team to get in is NGGZ.
Yeah, and they found that clear entry point as well. As much as they clear, they emerge on top of the bunker and now attracts a little attention coming in from Yangon Galacticos, and not too far off, TTQ as well. I think it's a safe enough spot for them to really play this one out, but Hyra have also joined into the party. We'll definitely want a little bit more cover to work with, so for now, it's only down to the terrains. Thankfully, there's nothing too far off on the south side, or else they'll be in the pickle. If we take a look into the center of Minnesota Base right now, plenty of space to work for, as we have pretty much equal distribution. Asia Esports conquers the north, and this game, savingly enough, looks to be very much in the favor of KHI to have so much ground control, securing the headquarters of the Millie Base.
A totally different game from the previous matchup that we just had. We had a circle right at the beaches of the northern side of Sosnovka Island. Now we are in the base itself, and KHI still manages to get in right at the middle. They're at the C building of the base itself. For NGGZ, they will have to go for another long rotation. Looks like they're going to go for a hard rotation coming from the bottom right-hand side. Probably they're planning on going on to the north, but they actually see one of the players of Nexus Vanguard as KZ goes down from Burmese Goals unknown. Able to drop him down as he probably tried to enter the base itself. And now he's just going to hide in the smokes that he actually popped out. And no more rescue for him, because if you see the mini-map Contra, the remainder of the Nexus Vanguard team is far away from him.
Yeah, they've been playing by the edges for most part, and now it's going to be a battle for any form of space that they can manage to acquire. And GGZ, they go for that wide swing to check over the north side. There is Superboy holding around these areas, as we did mention. NX, they were having a little bit of that struggle looking for those kind of space. Michi has been able to find that punishment, and there goes the final member of the side of NX, unfortunately. As for the rest of Burmese Goals, I think they're looking pretty steady. The only problem is they haven't found much placement points to be gained from the past 2 rounds. With this hovercraft, this ensures they safely traverse right into the zone, but they had to just leave it as it's about to blow up. Asia Esports now looking to dead them from top side of the hill, but there is exchanges coming from inside of Master EG.
And good thing those bullets came through top. We'll have to, stop for now and heal up. And for Burmese goals, they will have to work on with that they could have probably have done so much more, because the circle went down to the Sosnovka Island where they actually land. So not so sure what happened to them. They probably hang out for a very long time right at the bridge area to gatekeep most of the teams.
Yeah, they took too long, and they kind of allowed the rest of these teams to journey their way through from other alternatives, especially on the opposite side of the bridge as well. They should have actually sent maybe a few members to be able to cover grounds, but of course, Count Crowder spilt milk, whichever that phrase was. BG, however, now slowly getting punctured in top so far, has got that angle from the top side of the hill. These big nades are really piling the pressure onto Godspeed, and I don't think they will be able to get those revives done. The moment he pops his head out, he's going to be a goner, but I think the only way out is to get a couple more smokes in to try to call in for a revive. A little too late for Godspeed, though. All he really has to take care of is himself for the moment, as Austria Esports have continuously put a lot of pressure onto their shoulders, and now down to Unknown. Perhaps Unknown will be able to alter their fate to pick up Master EG.
But it's going to be pretty hard, because next NGGZ rather would sandwich them, has that view, and you can now see Smile with Yangon Galacticos at the bottom side, right at the edge of the blue zone here. There's so many teams right at the bottom side of the circle as well, so I'm not so sure how YG will manage to survive this situation, but Godspeed will be able to see Michi as he drops him down, but he needs to wait it out for now, as X will be the ones to eliminate Burmese goals, and they're now out at the 11th spot.
Still 0 placements gained, but there's a big fight happening by the corners of the satellite. And Burnat, so far, never challenged this guy on a CQC, as he's been able to thrive in so many occasions by doing so. Yangon Galacticos have been able to prevail, finding themselves just about enough cover, but still not in the zone quite yet. And back towards that notion of Burmese goals, I mean, it's been a disappointing day coming from them. Sure, they got those 3 points in this round, but they have not been able to make the top 8 cut again. But then again, if we take a look at this matchup, it's been absolutely difficult. 2 matches in a row, these teams are being sent into the islands. Now, MSI looking to hunt out the final member of GOA. Clay Jr. He's got the angles. Oh, misses the mark. And it's not the perfect timing for the grenade, and that allows Monboy to go in for the punish.
Yeah, Monboy just outplayed him in that scenario, but for now, at the C building, it's going to be KHI versus Austria. Nong X now. Try to hold on with that frag grenade. Will probably cook now. Pretzel, though, will be able to find Fern G for Austria. So Austria able to manage to get that top of the hill, but with so many teams right at the bottom side, they're able to see them clearly. Ooh, but for YG, they're now trying to go rotate, but Mernat will be spotted here by MSI Monboy. Mernat, though, will be eliminated by KHI MiG, so the third party is now coming in as well. Nades coming through also to YG. And for YG, they're left with only 2. Smile is there. There's someone still alive here for YG, but not in the same area where Smile is at. Now here comes the damage here from MSI. If Pretzel comes in, they smell the blood of YG, but Romeo able to go for the suppressing fire there for Master Smile. So they, for now, will survive as Austria. Nang X still trying to sustain the players of KHI, but he needs more help. Ooh, but the nade actually... Oh no, the nade actually knocked down his teammate. MSI needs help. Ryman, another nade from MSI, but now it exploded to YG as they eliminate them.
Such a huge scramble over the south side. We see the rest of Yangon Galacticos depleted, and now that allows a chance for Aja as well as KHI to form and overtake. My. It's been a big round thus far. Aja Esports, as much as we saw top dominating the hillside, his other teammates were seeked out by, I believe, KHI as well as NGGZ that's firmly planted around those areas. And KHI still holding the best possible location. MSI, a perfect defense. And you saw how many teams they've been able to eliminate, especially up against Yangon Galacticos. That was a hard-fought victory. And now they have the most amount of eliminations acquired in the round thus far. So they should be able to create a big gap up against Infinite Zapiera, who's only got 1 point and only one member remaining. Mix! Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful spray with an AUG from Migs. Claire, though, will also eliminate Monboy. MSI, Misfit International, not able to rotate well. Ostja, though, will be gone. But they did manage to get 7 eliminations here. Monboy will just hide at the statue. Claire throws out a stun, but no go for him. Hyra is still alive, though. Hash is the last member for them. Same goes to NGGZ. They are only left with only 1, so this is just the remains of whatever chaos that happened here at the bridge and probably ends of Snufka military base. It's all up to just KHI, the only team that has a complete players here.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, the moment that KHI have got themselves planted by the horseshoe, the sea building, we call it, it just seemed like there's just no teams that have been able to really challenge them. And take a look at this. Barely any health left for the side of Raimon, and here comes the jump shot. Claire almost got taken out with a Martyrdom grenade. And now, 10 points is all she wrote for MSI, but still a great victory nonetheless. And take a look at this. 4 teams hailing from the Philippines, battling for the chicken dinner, but KHI might be able to get back-to-back win in this matchup.
Yeah, big possibility. Probably 90% that they can win this game unless they would clutch it out. NGGZ and Team Hyra. They're actually the ones battling each other right at the eastern side of this circle. For KHI, if they do know what is already happening with them, they can probably just go for the push. But for now, they don't have any much information. Jarrell will be the ones to be eliminated first here, I would say, because he is still not yet in the circle.
Yeah, the moment that he pops his head over on Ventus, he might just be caught up by Migs, who's by the other side of the wall. Blanks is also driving in with hovercraft. That further confirms it, but I don't think Blanks have been able to catch a glimpse, though. He somehow sneaked right by.
Yeah, he circles around.
Okay.
Yeah. Just trying to scout out Contra, the areas.
Come on, round 2.
Round
Maybe
2?
this time it's the charm.
Yeah.
No, Blanks is not checking. Jero might just be able to just get his way through, but Blanks, oh no, he's reversing. I mean, so long he doesn't check his back mirror, it should be fine.
They still not able to spot the 2.